Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 12th episode of Three Life Changing Tips from Highly Effective People. And today we have Dr. Lotus Riche from Washington, D.C. Hello, Lotus.
Hello, how are you, Shariq? It's so good to see you again.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on our show with most of our viewers from Germany and also from Pakistan and India. And we will have three tips from Lotus. But I have a very nice video from Lotus to play before. And during the show, all of you are welcome to ask questions.
Lack of inspiration, no motivation, fear of success, stressed out. Whatever your struggles are, never stop pricing up. We are here to help you overcome challenges, rise from the mud, help release yourself. Time to change. Right now.
Yes, Lotus. So it was a very motivational video. So she is a Guinness World Record holder. She is an author, speaker, strategist, and also doctor. PhD doctor. So let's ask briefly to introduce. So Lotus, can you introduce yourself briefly before moving to the three tips?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. I'm so delighted to be here, and I was super duper happy to have you on my show. As you shared, my name is Dr. Lotus Riche. I am the CEO of Lotus Riche Ignites Coaching and Consulting. I have a company that helps entrepreneurs, as I always say, go from zero to hero and ignite and take flight in every area of their life, but primarily business, because we share with people how to show up in business and how not to settle for just being average. I am the
Mhm.
Guinness World Record holder, as you said, of 2020. I'm an author, I'm a keynote speaker, but most importantly, I just love people. I'm prior military. I've worked for some of the top companies on the planet. And one thing I know in all my travels and everywhere I've been, one thing is pervasive. People just want to be successful.
Mhm.
And success has many different meanings to many different people. But what I've learned and what I share is success doesn't start from without, it starts within. And that's one of the
True.
biggest things I'm proud of, just to be able to share that globally.
That's really wonderful, and we are blessed to have you here. So let's move to our tip number one.
Okay. Tip number one, study other businesses, but create your own.
Mhm.
I say study other businesses because oftentimes businesses that make it, let's look at Amazon. Okay. Amazon is one of the top corporations of selling. And in fact, they don't really sell us the products that they have on board, they sell themselves.
Mhm.
And so, if you want to have something that's going to make millions when you're fast asleep, and I teach people that, Shariq, have something, a product or service that you can present to people that will sell itself. So when you're fast asleep, you're still earning. And the way to do that is look at other businesses who's doing it. Look at individuals who's doing it and look at their model. Maybe follow their model, but create your own business. And guess what's going to happen? You are going to create your own model that someone just might come by and say, "Hey, can I pay you for that? Hey, I really like what you're doing. Can we partner together?"
Mhm.
After all, look at StreamYard. StreamYard got involved with LinkedIn
Yes.
and another explosion took off. And StreamYard wasn't around for many, 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 many years.
Yes.
But because of their strategic alignment and because they created their own business, they
Mhm.
created their own. They probably studied several before they created their own. And look,
Yes.
we're even using StreamYard today.
True. True. That's absolutely true. Very nice tip. So let's
Thank you.
move to tip number 2.
Tip number two. Tip number two rounds us with tip number one because I really believe that you have to do this first, but you also have to do it along the way.
Mhm.
Mentor. Get a great mentor. I always say great mentors need great mentors. Well, what does that mean? Find someone that's doing what you want to do
Mhm.
in excellence and follow them. Now, a lot of times, Sharik, people say, well, I can't pay Robert Kiyosaki or Jack Canfield or
Mhm.
Sharik Javid or Lotus Riche to be my mentor. How do you know if you don't ask? So
True.
ask a mentor to be your mentor. I know a lot of times you might be afraid, but rise above the fear and ask anyway. If you're scared as hell, do it anyway. Because 9 times out of 10, the thing that you find in fear and you conquer it, that's the thing that's going to help you the most. That's the thing that's going to say, you know what, fear, I you're going to make fear shake, but you just
True.
got to
Mhm.
stand up in that moment,
And take
face
the
your
step.
fear, and
Mhm.
take the step and ask that mentor to mentor you. And by the way, Sharik, this is what I had to learn. A lot of people say, well, that person is too expensive. Invest in yourself and ask anyway, because that mentor might be so enamored with you. They may say, I'll cut my price or I'll mentor you free for 6 months until you get the money. So tip two, face your fear, get a mentor, ask.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, let's move to tip number 3.
All right. Tip number three. I'm going to lean on Robert Kiyosaki because Robert Kiyosaki said the fear of being different prevents most people from seeking new ways to solve their problems. So, the
Absolutely.
primary thing is if you want to be great in business and even in life for your children, or even if you don't have children, but you're mentoring someone else, step out of your fear. Don't let fear confine you. And
Mhm.
I challenge you, don't just think out of the box. Think out of the stratosphere. Because when
Mhm.
you just think out of the box, okay, here's here, I'm gonna hold my cup up. Here's my cup. Let's think that it's a box or a cup. Okay. When
Mhm.
you think right outside of the box, you land right here, typically, right outside of the box. Or
True.
maybe you're lucky enough to torpedo and land a few steps away from the box or the cup.
Mhm.
But that's where you land, right outside of the box. It doesn't make you fantastic. It doesn't make you brilliant. It doesn't make you great. It just makes that you've landed outside of the box, although many
Mhm.
people are in the box. Try to land outside of the stratosphere. And the only way you're going to do that is by what you think about. Mr. Les Brown said the problem isn't that we aim too high and miss. The problem is that we aim too low and hit. So I tell
Mm.
you, don't think outside of the box. Think out of the stratosphere and win.
We need to have really big dreams, yes,
Oh
and
yes,
don't not be afraid of others. Yes. So very
exactly.
nice. That were wonderful 3 tips at the end of the first part, and now we will ask
Thank you.
and know more about the journey of Dr. Lotus Riche and about her life. And stay tuned. And we'll be back after a small break. Grab your glass of water, and we'll be right back after 1.5 minutes.
Hey folks, I just wanted to come to you briefly today because I've got so many folks asking me, Lotus, how are you so successful? Success is relevant to whatever you think success is. To some people, success may be having a big house, fine cars, or just having a great job. Some people, in their mind, success is just having a great family and friends. For me, success is being able to make a difference, not only in my life, but in the lives of the people that I come across. I help do this is I encourage people not to make excuses for not being successful. Don't let fear, complacency, procrastination, someone telling you that you can't do it, and the most important thing, number 5, you telling yourself that you can't do it. See, you got to rise above giving yourself excuses. You've got to give yourself every reason to win. After all, you are a winner. So today I share with you, don't make excuses. Make moves. See you.
Yes, I hope everyone heard it. Don't make excuses, make the move. Very
That's
nice.
right.
So, really impressive and motivational video, this one, and you're trying to motivate others. So, I think we will start by this thing about giving back. When you say you are successful, but of course,
Yes.
success has different definitions for everyone else, everyone in the world. It is unique. But 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 then you come forward and you want to help others, and also I know that you are doing several wonderful projects for women empowerment in Africa, for
Yes.
clean water projects. There are a lot of things that you are doing. So where do you find all this energy, and why do you do this?
I think I find the energy because of just who I am and how I was reared. One, my mom and dad, amazing people. My dad is no longer with us on the planet, but my dad told me that nobody knows everything about anything. And so,
Mhm.
because of that, when I research things, I always look to people who did know. And those people that knew, they always wanted to share because
Mhm.
it wasn't what they held that made them stronger, it's what they gave away. And so that's one reason why I do it, because my parents inspired me to help people all
Mhm.
around the world and not to be confined by my thoughts or just by my front yard, but to go beyond that. And in order to
Mhm.
go beyond that, you really have to go beyond that in your thinking. So primarily it's because of my parents why I do what I do,
Mhm.
and because it's become an internal part of me to have the desire to help people. And one thing that I know about people all over the world, I've traveled, I've lived in Japan, I've been to numerous countries. People need people. And in order for us to help each other, we have to be very transparent. We have to be willing to do that one thing that God has richly endowed us to do, and that's to love. Just to
Mhm.
love people and to love this one life on this planet that we're experiencing right now. You know, Sharik, I
Mhm.
think I shared this with you before. I believe that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And because of that, if we begin to look at each other as spiritual beings having this human experience, we would level people up and not put them below us or rise them above us. And so I look at people in that way. So no one is better than me. And at the same way, I'm not better than anyone else. I'm a spiritual being having a human existence.
Mhm.
Now, I might know more. It's only because I've studied more or because I've had experiences. But even though you might think this person may not know as much as you do, I would say stop in the moment, hear that person, listen to that person, because everybody has a story. Even some people that we call bums or derelicts on the street, I challenge you, have dinner
Yes,
with them, talk to them.
true,
You'll
true.
learn so
Mhm.
much because I know I have, and
Mhm.
they always haven't been in that position. So if you
True.
take the time to just do the thing that Charles Marcus shared with me, my mentor,
Mhm.
if we just listen,
Mhm.
and close our mouths, we may hear one of the best stories that will change our lives forever. And so
That's
that's
so
why I do what
wonderful.
I do.
Mhm. That people need people. That's so true. And to be a good speaker, you need to be a good listener, because every person in this world is very unique and has a wonderful story to tell. And I will ask the viewers to share their views also. What we are
Yes,
discussing with Lotus today is about giving back and also enabling other people to be successful. So
exactly.
Lotus, tell us about this. You have a doctor title. in your name, Dr. Lotus Riche. So
Yes.
tell us about that. What did you study, or what is your specialty?
Well, my specialty is psychology. I have a degree in psychology. I have a master's in business, but also a doctoral degree in philosophy. And I have some other things happening that I'm not going to let out right now.
So we are
Uh,
learning all the time. Amazing.
yes, yes, and I just keep going. That's the thing. You're never too old to learn. Shariq, my mother is 73, and I remember in 2016 when I came back to the United States, having lived and worked in Japan for the Department of Defense, I learned when I gave my mother that laptop. I didn't think about, oh, she can't learn it. I just thought about, I want to give this to her so that she can move outside of the confines of home and be
Mhm.
on the virtual um, planet, if you will. Okay.
Mhm.
And she worked on it, but not a lot. And she didn't have anyone that took a lot of time with her to learn it. But here in the pandemic, the churches, and my mother, she goes to church all the time, and her church started going virtual, and she was like, I've got to learn this thing. And she pulled her laptop out and she started getting on it, learning how to use Zoom. And I remember one morning she called me and she
Mhm.
said, I got it. I got it. I got it on by myself. And we were talking, and my mom and I were very, very close. And she said, I said to myself,
Mhm.
if I don't learn now, I'll never learn.
Mhm.
And that's why I keep learning.
True.
When I used to work for the University of Phoenix, I had 3 generations of people going to school. I had the granddaughter, the daughter, and the grandmother. They were all pursuing their college degrees. And the grandmother was in her 70s. So if these women and men, I had a man, I say young, he was only in his 70s. He was enrolled in college. And this is one of the reasons why I keep doing it. These people that I see all over the world, young and old, they inspire me. They
Mhm.
empower me. And
Very
this
nice.
is one reason why I keep doing it, because
This is
the
beautiful.
more I learn, the more I earn. And I don't mean just in money. I
Mm.
mean, in
Absolutely.
mental
Absolutely.
capacity. Every time you learn something new, there's scientific proof that you get another wrinkle on your brain.
Mhm. Interesting.
So I want to have a wrinkly brain. How about you, Shariq?
It's a good idea, actually. I also
Yeah,
want to be humble and keep learning from everyone, regardless
exactly,
of their background or educational
exactly.
background or degrees. Everyone is very unique.
Exactly. And Shadiq, I tell people, don't get caught up in titles. Titles are just titles. We cannot die and take them with us.
Mm.
Make your footprint on the planet by the deeds that you do to help other people.
Mm.
There are people that get up all over the world to watch my Lotus Riche Ignite show, to watch my News You Can Use, my Bring Who You Are show, and I thank them because they're allowing themselves to connect with me, and I'm connecting with them.
Mm.
And like with your show, when you and I talked about me being on your show, of course I said yes, because you may be a little younger than me, maybe by 1 year, folks, maybe by 1 year, maybe by 1 year. That's my story and I'm sticking to it, right? But Shariq is a mentor for me because of the wonderful things that he's doing, the the
Thank you.
the things that he's sharing. I'm serious.
Yeah,
When you came
you
on
are
my
also
show,
mentor for me. Mm.
you know, you became my mentor and I became your mentor. And this is how it's done, folks.
Mhm.
And this is why I continue to do what I do. I saw Made Tulakima.
Yeah.
She made a comment, and she's a good friend of mine, all the way from Australia. And I've been on her show before, and she's been on my show. I believe she's been on my show. So, you just have to reach out, and that's why I do what I do,
Mhm.
just to help
So
others.
we briefly talked about not so degrees are important, but not the only thing, right? And
Exactly.
a lot of things come out of the textbook. For example, this year
Exactly.
in 2020.
Mhm.
all the plans for the companies and people changed. The pandemic came.
Mhm.
Actually, in Washington, a lot of things are happening. You have
Yes.
a new president,
Yes, we do.
and a
Yes, we do.
lot of things happening. Pandemic, the companies
Yeah.
going bankrupt. Some companies making more money. So
Yes.
people going virtual.
Yes.
People are learning that there is a lot of opportunity of
Yes.
new ways of making money.
Yeah.
And of course, it is very urgent or important for everyone to learn and adapt to
Yes.
the changes. You know.
Yes.
So, what do you think? What do you want to say about that? Since the pandemic, what has happened recently?
Well, I want to say that not only do we have a new president, but we have a new uh, vice president who
Yes,
is
yes,
a
yes.
woman, and she is a
Hmm.
woman of color, and that is a very powerful and dynamic step into the future. And I would be remiss if I didn't share that. Why? Because women all over the world in many countries are not even allowed to pursue formal education. And
Hmm.
here in this time, we must understand that pandemic or no pandemic, there's going to
Hmm.
be a tomorrow. Now, I may not see tomorrow, Sharik may not see tomorrow, or maybe we will, but tomorrow for many is going to come. So,
True.
because tomorrow is going to come, I challenge each person, learn one new
Hmm.
thing each day. Do one act of kindness. Sharik, I shared this with you before. I make sure I do at least one act of kindness a day because it's been proven that if you do something 17 times, it becomes a habit. So, where I started out telling myself to do one act of kindness, it became a habit. So, all throughout my day, I'm doing acts of kindness. And if the pandemic
Wonderful.
has showed us nothing, it has showed us that we must be kind to one another, that we must love our family members because you never know when you're going to see them again. You know, Sharik, I have not seen my mother
Hmm.
since I think March or May. No, March. I have not seen my mother since March because of the pandemic. So
Hmm.
treat treat your family, treat your friends, treat your coworkers like you love them. And then, Sharik, a lot of people have what we call enemies.
Hmm.
Enemies help us in so many ways to move forward. A lot of times the rhetoric that we go through with enemies cause us to move forward because some people say, oh, I'm gonna just show you, I'm gonna just show you. Show yourself,
Hmm.
show yourself, educate yourself, show yourself approved. And those
True.
people that you call enemy, find a way to find peace with them. Find a way. If you can't be their friend, try not to be their foe.
Hmm.
Try the fantastically overcoming adversity. And
True.
I know that adversity is not in the word foe,
Hmm.
but fantastically overcome the negative experience that you've had with them.
True. So we are having a really nice discussion, and time is running out. We are entering the
Yes.
last 10 minutes of the show. So we talked about the changes that happened since pandemic, and we knew that learning and adapting is important. Valuing the relationships is important, and we also learned that humans, people need people, and we need everyone else. We cannot just succeed without others. So
Yes.
cooperation, collaboration, and giving
Yes.
back is also so important. So in the last part of the show, we will take some more tips. We will ask Lotus to summarize the three tips also, and before
Yes.
that I will ask her to briefly reflect on the times that have changed since her childhood to now. The
Yeah.
times are changing. Maybe the people were not using smartphones. There were not smartphones there. So how, so for the children, for the youth, how the times have
Yeah.
changed, what are the positives and negatives, and how we can improve for our kids?
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Kind of
So
textbook question.
you asked me earlier about the pandemic, and I shared some information um, um, about the pandemic. Let me say this: a couple quick ways that people have shifted in the pandemic is because they had to change the way they do business. They had to change the way they connect. They had to change the way they even see business. They visualize business because now business in so many ways has gone virtual. And I challenge you, if you have not stepped away from the box totally into your own stratosphere,
Mhm.
I challenge you to do that. If you don't know how to use social media, contact companies like Lotus Riche Ignites and others out there that can help you leverage what you already have. And so in the pandemic, we had to do that differently. We had to show up in business arena differently. Even our children that are in schools, children that were in school never, I know coming up, when I was coming up, like I said, Sharik is just a year younger than me. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. But this is going to date me, Sharik. Children, when I was coming up, had what you call record players and LPs and all that stuff. Children today don't know, many don't know what an LP is. It's a round piece of plastic that you put on a record player that you put a needle on it and it plays sound music out of it. And for those of you that don't know, Sharik and I'll have to do a blast from the past show and show you several of those things. But Sharik, children today are showing up with iPhones. They are schooling at home on the computer. And
True.
so what bridges the gap between all of this is knowledge.
True.
The knowledge
Absolutely.
that we learn from the 50s and 60s, the 40s and 30s, that we've graduated to the 2020
Mhm.
and what we're going to take beyond. It's amazing. I got to tell you, and I'm just blown away at my great nieces and nephews, some of the things that they're able to do. Like my great nephew, he's amazing, and he's autistic. He's autistic. And when my mom had a concern with her computer, I said, "Mom, you know, call my nephew Isaiah." Isaiah came up, and Isaiah just recently turned like 11, and he came up, and in seconds, Sharik, he had
Mhm.
her computer up and going the way she needed to go. It's phenomenal. And I say
Yes.
to folks,
Mhm.
continue to help your children think outside of the box. Now, I would say, like my dad and my mom always used to do, come away from the electronics for a while. Don't let them be so in front of the television or in front of the computer or playing computer games that they don't do the family bonding time and that they don't have time with themselves. So
Balance
that's
is
that's a
important.
balance.
Mhm.
It's got to
So
have
we
balance.
were really enjoying the show today, and now I
Yeah.
will ask you to summarize the three tips again very quickly for the viewers who join
Tips.
now.
Okay, the 3 tips I shared. First things first. Study other businesses, but create your own. Don't be afraid to do the very thing that the higher power has given you to do, because what you do, what you bring to the world, may revolutionize the way people do things. The second thing is get a great mentor. Study the mentor that you want, ask for the help, call them, email them. You can contact almost any mentor on this planet, and don't be afraid to invest in them. Why? Because the money you circulate with them, you
Mhm.
circulate back into yourself. And the third and final thing, I talked about what Mr. Robert Kiyosaki talked about, that fear of being different prevents most people from seeking new ways to solve their problems. If you're
Mhm.
going to have a great business or have a great life, solve a problem for somebody, but solve the problem within yourself. And don't think
True.
outside of the box, think outside of the stratosphere, because when you just think outside of the box, that's where you land, somewhere outside of the box.
True.
And maybe that's not where you're designed to be. Think outside of the stratosphere.
Very nice three tips, and I'm sure all the viewers must have really loved it. And those who are joining it now, you can see
Yes.
the recording again. And in the description of the show, I have the website of Lotus Riche. You can contact her directly. Also, she's available on all social media platforms and really motivated personality. So my challenge to all of you, it has been a pandemic year. You have seen a lot of things happening, and now it's time to start something. It's
Yes.
time to start something. Use the winter break, make up your mind, get all the knowledge, and start something. Get a mentor and start something. So it was a pleasure, and we
Thank
will sign out for today with this small video. Rise from the mud. Until next time, goodbye from Sharik Javed from Munich, Germany, and thank you very much, Lotus Riche from
thank you.
Washington D.C. Bye bye.
Lack of inspiration. no motivation. Fear of success. Stressed out. Whatever your struggles are, never stop rising up. We are here to help you overcome challenges, rise from the mud, help release yourself. Time to change.